Yes, the view is great. Everything is perfect. Let's start. First
right.
of all, hello, and it's always nice to see you today as the Media and Communications Department of the Social Research Center. We are starting a new video series from our center's social media accounts, and we chose you as the first guest of this series.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And to briefly inform our viewers, our guest today is former United States Ambassador to Azerbaijan, Matthew Bryza. So there will be a questionable series. So the first question will be like, and first of all, of course, I'd like to say that I remember that I contacted you when I was a young journalist, and I'm still young, but still not a researcher. And you helped me with your comments on at least 2 of my articles, I remember. So I thank you for that. And
my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. And briefly moving on to the first question, how do you evaluate the possible post-war Azerbaijan-Armenia relations, since you have worked intensively on the geography in the question?
Well, that's a very broad question. I mean, can you
Yes.
narrow it down a little bit?
The current status quo right now, as you probably know, that the current status quo is quite interesting around the Karabakh region, as we can sense that there is new military active things are happening around there. Some say that new skirmishes are around the corner. So, how could you evaluate the current status quo?
Yeah, well, first, Mr. Bayramov, I would underscore that for the first time in a long time, it's clear that the leaders of both Azerbaijan and Armenia want a peace treaty. They want to wrap up the conflict once and for all and demarcate the international border between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and then move forward to a future of peace, of economic interconnectivity, and of Azerbaijani people returning to their homes in Karabakh and the other former occupied territories, and living in some cases alongside Armenians. Yes. Who hopefully will decide to remain in their homes and feel safe. And there are people in Armenia who do not want that. There are people in Armenia and in the diaspora communities in the United States and France and Russia who profit personally from conflict. Yes. Whether that be monetary profit by, soliciting donations to their organizations, or political profit, such as in the case of the so-called former Karabakh clan in Armenian politics, or the extreme revanchist nationalist groups like the Dashnak Sütun and their agents in the United States, the Armenian National Committee of America. So the closer that the national leaders have gotten to a peace treaty, the more the ones who don't want peace become active and provocative. And so we're in a very tense stage right now. That's the bad news. The good news is, again, both of the national leaders want not only peace, but a peace treaty. And so I don't know, there's always a risk of a skirmish. I mean, both Armenia and Azerbaijan have moved troops to the so-called front lines, or, to the border, and also to Karabakh in the Azerbaijani case. But I'm not worried about there being some sort of an accident and that somehow blows up into a bigger war. I think the national leaders don't want a major conflict, but are now using the movement of troops as negotiating tools.
As you know, there has been an election recently in Karabakh. My next question will be about it. So, what do you think the Armenians who live in Karabakh should do for their future? There should be negotiations between them. How would you evaluate it?
Well, first of all, it is important that all the rights of the ethnic Armenian population in Azerbaijan's Karabakh region be respected. And together with the government of Azerbaijan, as Azerbaijani citizens, right, the community, I would recommend, does what it had said it would do, which is to meet with authorities from Baku and begin figuring out an agreed way to do what I just said: safeguard all the political, economic, human rights, cultural rights of that ethnic Armenian community, but not in a way where the community unilaterally asserts its rights without consulting with Baku, and that was the problem with the election. I mean, when I was the Minsk Group mediator for the United States,
Yes, yes.
we
I
always,
remember.
we always anticipated that or expected that the ethnic Armenian communities on Azerbaijani territory, of course, they would select their own community leaders and municipal leaders, but that all has to be done and defined in consultation with the government in Baku. Now, for a while, the government of Azerbaijan did not want to engage with the community's leaders or the community, the Armenian community, and it was persuaded to do so. I think the United States government and the European Union helped to persuade Baku to do so. And then once Baku agreed to do so, then the Armenian community in Karabakh decided not to meet, but instead to, elect their own leaders without consulting Baku. So they should talk.
They should talk. Yeah, talking is the key. So, what could a possible war, like possible new war, result in the region, like in between Azerbaijan and Armenia? Could like this war could end in a devastating situation for the South Caucasus, or what would you evaluate it as?
I don't anticipate a war. I don't even want to speculate about it. I don't see any reason why there would.
So you're positive about it. Yeah. So that's...
No, neither side wants it. Even the spoilers, the people who want continued conflict, the ones in Armenia, they don't want a full-scale war or a war again. They know that they don't really have a substantial military to resist the Azerbaijani force that really devastated the Armenian military, and Russia is not going to intervene on Armenia's behalf. So I think nobody really wants a war, and one's not going to happen. I mean, God forbid if it did, it would be, of course, it would be terrible, but I don't think it'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah, the topic of the question was actually like, do you see the solve of those conflicts also in the future, or what would be your ideas on that? My question.
Just guesswork. Who knows? I mean,
it would be a speculation, right?
Yeah. Nobody knows. Yeah, the Russian side wants to keep the Transnistria and Abkhazia and South Ossetia conflicts unresolved. Yeah. And Russia is fighting to exterminate Ukraine. Putin has admitted it. I mean, he's said Ukraine doesn't have the right to exist as a country. So they're very different situations. Azerbaijan never had an ambition to use military force to eliminate Armenia or Karabakh Armenians. And I find, by the way, the rhetoric coming out of Armenian circles and circles of its supporters abhorrent, saying that Azerbaijan is planning ethnic cleansing in Karabakh. Had Azerbaijan wanted to conduct ethnic cleansing, it would have. It wouldn't have stopped the military phase of the Second Karabakh War in Shusha. Yeah.
My last question will be about, of course, again, on the topic of the Karabakh, but as a person who worked in this region quite a long time, did you expect the war before it happened? Is it there will be a war in this region soon? Like
that's too broad of a question. What I knew was certain of for many years, while I was the mediator, and afterward, was two things. One, as long as there was a genuine negotiation going on between Baku and Yerevan, as long as the Armenian side was negotiating in good faith, because Armenia had the advantage, right? And so it had an incentive to drag out the talks and not make progress. But as long as the negotiating process seemed real and seemed promising from Azerbaijan's perspective, I did not expect war at all. And the second point is, as long as Azerbaijan had not mobilized and moved its military forces toward Armenian forces in the occupied territories and Karabakh, also, I was never worried about war coming. There was a lot of speculation in previous decades. Oh, Azerbaijan is flexing its muscles, is planning for war. No, it wasn't. But that all changed in July of 2020, after the clashes in the Azerbaijan-Armenia border, and the United States stepped back. France stepped back, and there was a political military vacuum, actually, filled by Russia and Turkey. You'll remember with Russia calling snap military drills with the Armenian military, and Turkey doing the same with Azerbaijan. Then it seemed pretty clear to me that the countries could be moving toward war. And then in the, the weeks immediately before, I mean, there were reports of mobilization, and then it was clear there was going to be a military clash at some point. So throughout the vast majority of my time working on Karabakh, or Azerbaijan, Armenia, South Caucasus, I didn't expect any war, but then it all changed. And the real reason why it changed was because I think that the Armenian side, as Nikol Pashinyan said in August, I think it was, of 2019,
yes.
The formula of lands for peace is no more, which was the whole Minsk group process, where we had a preliminary agreement accepted
until 2019 or
2009. We had a preliminary agreement
2009, yeah.
President Aliyev and then President Sarkisyan, preliminary, the so-called Madrid principles, preliminarily accepted, though not finalized. And that formula was land, occupied territories go back to Azerbaijan for peace. Come up with a way to prevent there from being a war and a way to ensure the security of the ethnic Armenian population. So when Pashinyan said, we no longer follow that approach of lands for peace. Now our approach is new wars for new territories. That was the signal.
Yes, I think that was a big thing in Azerbaijan also.
That was a signal to President Aliyev, based on all my years working with him, that what I said before, that the negotiating process that had to be hopeful and real was dead. And so then after that, then Azerbaijan did mobilize its military forces and move them toward the Armenian forces. And so at that point, it was clear there was going to be a war.
Thank you so much, Matthew Bryza, for your time. And it was an excellent interview, because it's going to be quite a short one, but you have answered my questions very well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bayramov.
Thank you.
Just all I ask is that you take my comments in good faith and don't distort them.
Of course. Don't worry.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Good luck with your project. Bye-bye.
Thank you.